Hey there, my name's Anna, and this is the area where I keep plants that I purchased, but I haven't planted yet. I actually have quite a few of these, and I'm assuming that I'm not the only gardener who does this. You get a really good sale, you get a bunch of things at the same time because you don't know when you're going to be at the nursery again next. And then life just happens and things start accumulating. Mine's in a walkway, so when we have people over, they have to walk around my plants. It's really very inconvenient. But today is Memorial Day, and it's kind of cool and a little misty, and this is a great time to plant some things. So I'm just gonna start going through this pile behind me. See what I can plant out. Now this is a blueberry that my mom bought me. I don't quite have a place for this yet, but maybe I can get to that. This is a hanging plant that can just go back where it goes. These are some irises that I found in the wild on the river. I'm gonna find a place for those. A beautiful rose for outside the vegetable garden. These are a bunch of pansies. Some of them died. It's a little late for pansies, but we'll see what we can do. Some herbs, some perennials. Here's some rosemary, another flower. Oh, here's a tomato that I forgot about. This is a cherry tomato. And then we have a lilac that I actually thought was dead from last year. And look at this, it came back. So I'll find a place for that too. It's a dwarf Korean lilac. So this is kind of what I've got going on today. I'm going to do these basil plants, and basil really likes to be planted next to tomatoes, and tomatoes really like to have basil planted next to them. It helps with pests, and it's fun because tomato and basil are actually really good cooking companions too, so it's easy to remember. The same with cucumbers and dill, by the way. So I'm just lifting this out of the pot. It's a little bit root bound. I'm not even going to worry about it. This is the stage of gardening that I'm in right now. Just get things in the ground as soon as possible. Here we go. I have marigolds planted, and I'm just going to be putting some basil in between each of these marigolds. Basil loves to be pruned also. So if you have a basil that has some real long stems, here's an example of one that could probably be pruned. You're just going to pinch off the very top little leaflet group there. And that way it will encourage it to branch out a little bit more. So now these two right here will start growing and not go to seed. That's the best thing to do for your basil really regularly. And then just go ahead and use that basil. You can dry it or go ahead and cook with it as your plant continues to grow. All right, 5 basil plants right here in my first tomato row. I did get a chance to pull some weeds, but as I've mentioned before, if you've been watching, this is the first year of this garden. There's going to be no way to really get on top of the weeds this year because we're doing no dig, cardboard, lasagna type method. So every once in a while I do come out here and just get a bunch that are all in a row, but I cannot get distracted with this today. I actually really like pulling weeds, super therapeutic, but I have a task today, and that's to get things in the ground. So I'm going to move on to the next thing. Okay, next up is these peppers and this one tomato that I still haven't planted. I think I've got some jalapenos and some bell peppers in here. Since I'm already working in the veggie garden, I'll go ahead and just do that next. I'm putting this sun sugar cherry tomato right here, right next to the entrance of my garden here to encourage snacking. I'm not expecting the kids to go back to the second and third row there to get any tomatoes, but I know they do love cherry tomatoes right off the vine. We don't grow very many because usually 1 or 2 plants can give us all of our cherry tomato needs. But I'm just going to plant this right in the middle of this cool cage that my neighbor Sue gave me. Her husband built these, and she was giving them away. And when she said she had tomato cages, I was picturing those wimpy ones that you get from the store, like Home Depot or something. And when Donnie came back with these, I was like, wow, These are impressive. So I'm doing 1 cherry tomato in these, and then I'm pretty sure I'm going to do cucumbers in the rest of these, and I'm probably going to plant those today if I have time. But again, let's not get distracted. I pulled the weeds in this one spot that I'm about to plant this 1 tomato, and let's do that. I'm going to worry about planting this one super deep, but I do like to get the bottom leaves off, the bottom branches off, and then I'll probably just plant it to about right there. It looks pretty sturdy as is. Okay, sun sugar cherry tomato is in, and I know this seems awful, but I'm going to go ahead and pull these off. I want this to make roots before it tries to make tomatoes. So goodbye to the little blossoms there. All right, I don't have to water it in because it is raining as we speak on my head. The peppers I'm going to put right here. I'm still really near the entrance, and peppers are not something that get eaten by intruders very often. I'm not super worried about those, so I'm gonna just weed some of this. Lettuce, on the other hand, look at this. The lettuce, it's trying to come back, but it looks like Doug, our resident groundhog, had a feast out here. So goodbye lettuce. We'll see if it wants to grow around the peppers, maybe a little bit, but this will be peppers right here. Thinks I'm crazy for gardening in the rain, but like, here we are. Look at that. That thing's full of water. I could just pour it right on the plants. It's ready to go. Yeah, you can have screen time. All right, I'm putting jalapenos in front, and then I'm going to go with the sweet bell peppers in the back. Sometimes people say you don't want to plant hot peppers near sweet peppers, and that's true if you're going to eat the seeds of the sweet pepper. So if it was like a banana pepper that you just want to bite into, this could cross-pollinate with that and make the seeds pretty spicy. I don't eat the seeds of bell peppers. I don't think anybody does. They're very bitter. So I'm not going to do that, and that makes it completely fine to put your bell peppers near your jalapenos. These need to be 18 to 24 inches apart, so I'll just put these really close to the edges here, and that should be good enough. All right, the little tiny pepper patch is complete. These guys I only did about 12 to 15 inches apart. I think that'll be no big deal. Peppers can get close. I remember Jess from Roots and Refuge Farm says peppers like to hold hands. So they do okay if they're a little bit closer. And I needed twice as many jalapeno plants as bell pepper plants because this year my #1 feedback on Christmas presents that were homemade from the kitchen and the garden was pickled jalapenos. Everybody liked them. I got cowboy candy in there too, but I think the #1 thing people liked was pickled jalapenos. I'm from Texas. My whole family lives in Texas. We love our tacos, and those things were so good. So come on, little babies, make a lot of jalapenos this year. Over here we have a sugar snap pea teepee that is surviving. Last year it all got eaten like right away by a rabbit or something, so I put this tulle netting around the edge, and we actually have some blossoms here, so we're gonna get some sugar snap peas. It's way too late where I'm from in Texas to be planting and growing sugar snap peas, but here, I mean, it's like 60 degrees today. That's not normal. It was 80 something earlier this week. But we do get a lot cooler weather than I'm used to in the summer. So those guys can go a little bit farther into late spring and still be healthy. Before we leave the vegetable garden, I just wanted to share the garlic is looking really good. I've had a booger of a time keeping weeds out of here because, well, there's a whole video on it, but there were seeds in my mulch here. And so I've had to be really careful not to pull out the garlic with the weeds, but I want to show you, look at this. We have a little bit of bulbing here happening. Here, let's check this one. Yeah, how fun is that? So they should be dividing into cloves in the next month or so. I'm gonna try to pick these garlics in July. Oh my gosh, look what I just noticed. Garlic scapes. Garlic scapes! Oh my gosh, there's so many of them! Okay, I've got to get out here and pick these because we don't want the garlic going to seed. We want to keep making garlic cloves. Oh my gosh, look how many there are. That is so fun. We're going to be making maybe some potatoes with those. Speaking of potatoes, look what we have. We have some blossoms on the potatoes. Now, that doesn't actually have anything to do with potatoes forming. Uh-oh, looks like we've had a little digging friend here digging up some potatoes. Oh, this one's not even connected to anything. I grew that this year. Isn't that so cool? But when you see the blossoms on a potato, you know it's about the right time for potatoes to be growing. You're getting closer and closer to the date where you're able to start digging them up. And you can probably, like this one, go ahead and dig some up. I hope you guys aren't offended by dirty hands with no gloves. That's just what happens, especially when I'm using a camera over and over again. I can't use the camera with gloves. Anyway, look at these potatoes looking so healthy and producing flowers. I need to come top these up because I'm definitely seeing some potatoes sticking out. We want to keep covering those up, make sure they don't turn green. These are actually potatoes from a different year, from last year. They're not supposed to survive the winter here if they get left behind, but here you go. We had a couple that did. We had a pretty mild winter, so the potatoes that were in the ground were able to sprout. So it's the next day, and I did not get all that far on the project that I was doing yesterday with all these plants behind me that have yet to get in the ground. That's just what happens. I got so far, and then I had to do things the rest of the day that weren't gardening related. So I'm going to start working on this again today. I think I'm going to do this climber. So this morning, Esther and I finished putting up the fence mesh all around the garden. And so now I can start planting things the rest of the way on the outside of the garden. So this beautiful Eden climber, so right next to my vegetable garden on the outside. I don't have much plantable space here on the outside of my vegetable garden at the moment, but I did put this Eden climbing rose. I just lost its one blossom, so hopefully it'll make some good roots and make me some more flowers here. I put the rest of the pansies out. Who knows if they'll keep growing, but it's nice and cool right now, so maybe they'll keep doing that. 2 echinacea. One of my favorite perennials of all time is echinacea. Double decker is the name of it. So 2 of those right here. A couple rosemaries. Those are not perennials in my area. And that's what I got planted right here. I'm continuing to bury this mesh along the wall, digging a little ditch about a foot down, foot wide, and trying to kind of bend that over to deter digging animals, or also just keep the mesh taut to keep animals that aren't digging out of there. I don't think I can keep moles and voles out. I definitely can't keep squirrels, but really I think any kind of barrier is a deterrent. And then the planted things around the edge are also a deterrent. But I have to finish this before I can plant anything. So the plan is that all along this side, and here's the entrance, and then all along the other side on this front south-facing side of the garden is going to be edibles and things that you can add to tea and herbs that you can cook with. So all kinds of beautiful edible herbs and flowers right along the front of the vegetable garden. And I completely expect animals to come and take bites of these. I'm hoping that I'm able to plant enough that I can just live with that. But as for what we have planted right here, the echinacea, the rosemary, the pansies, and the roses are all edible. So we've got a good start here. The next thing from my little sad unplanted area are going to be these hollyhocks. I actually don't know what colors these are because they are different colors, and that doesn't look like more than one plant. So it looks like they were just planted in a variety pack, and it'll be a surprise as to what color they turn out to be. But I found last year I planted some delphiniums, and there's a foxglove that's coming back, and some hollyhocks, and look at this. This is a hollyhock that decided to come back from last year. So I'm gonna pull out some of these weeds, figure out where the base of this plant is. There it is. Give it some space, and then that's where I'll plant the rest of these new hollyhocks. So the hollyhocks are in. These are last year's hollyhocks right here, and those are this year's. Hollyhocks are either biennial or perennial. I'm pretty sure this one's a perennial, so it should, well, either way, it should bloom this year. And then this one will just make nice big roots, and it'll go to flower and seed the year after. It's a good idea if you're trying to establish an area with hollyhocks in it that will reseed itself. You want to plant them a couple years in a row for a while until you can get kind of a good rhythm of flowering and rooting plants. And then the delphinium, so these are the hollyhocks are about 5 feet tall, so I can continue to move those kind of closer to the porch. Eventually these daylilies are going to be moved away. I won't want these here long term. I'm going to let them bloom this year though. And then the delphiniums that I found in my pile will get to be about 3 feet tall, and I just put 3 of them out. There's one right there. It's kind of struggling. There's one right there and one over here. 3 feet tall. This is a lilac that won't be in bloom when those guys bloom, and this is a climbing rose. That is Claire Austin from the David Austin collection, and I'm going to be training this to go up. So as the delphiniums grow, I think I can start moving delphiniums kind of into this area, and that would be really pretty. Delphiniums and hollyhocks both have that spiky flower stalk that is what you want from a cottage garden. Same with the foxglove. So just some really neat flowers, and then we've got those red hot pokers over here. I have a lot of work to take out weeds and move things where I want them. This is all just one big giant experiment and playground for me. All right, I got a couple of new poppy plants here. This one's called Orange Scarlet, which we actually are in a debate about whether Orange Scarlet is that color or whether it's that slightly pinker color over there. But what's amazing is these Orange Scarlet poppies that I just planted are the size that these were last summer when I planted them. So it's really amazing. Over the winter, they stayed alive, grew their roots over the spring, and then turned into this. So there's going to be more poppies here, and I'll probably pull this bed out eventually so I can put something shorter in front of it. I don't know what to do with poppies once they've stopped blooming. I definitely want to save the seed heads. Oh, here you go, Ethan. You were looking at one. You're looking for one that hadn't popped yet. There's one. That's like the last one of the whole patch here. So this will extend that. But I don't know what to do with these. Do you cut them back? Do you wait for them to dry and then cut them? They're going to be looking a little messy here for a while, I think. This is a perennial that is fairly new to me. It's called Jacob's Ladder, and it was a gift from Donnie's mom when she was here. I think that's who bought it for me. Anyway, it can handle partial shade, so I'm putting it here where the north exposure is. You can see it gets shade pretty early in the afternoon. So this will be a perfect spot for it. Needs about 18 inches apart, and it'll grow to about 2 feet. I think that's what it said. About 2 feet high. So as this, well, there's a climbing rose back there that I'll train up onto the porch. These will probably move at some point, these irises, or I'll move some of them. And then this is a pretty tall hydrangea that will continue to go up. So this will be right in front of that. This is a peony that will be done by early summer. So it won't compete with that at all. I think this will look really nice here. And then there's a little heuchera back there that's definitely getting shaded out and covered up by some other things. When I plan a bed, the plan is kind of a joke because I look generally at the colors of things and the heights of things and how far away things need to be, but I will definitely end up moving things as I need to. So some of these irises are going to be moved somewhere else, and I definitely need to move that coral bell back there because that is too pretty to be hiding. It's like a light purple, very pretty. Continuing on this edible tea garden area, I just put in some sweet marjoram, which was from my little collection on the side of the house, and an oregano. This is a beautiful variegated oregano. I'm guessing both of these plants are the type that you kind of want to keep under control. Oregano is a cousin of the mint family, and I think marjoram is too. So these have the potential to spread a little bit more than I want them to, but I'm not worried about that right now. I will worry about that another day. And I think it would be really nice to go out to my big pile of mulch and get that covered in to make this look like somebody meant for all these plants to be here. So this is out where what we call the clearing, just a little area of our backwoods of our 1.5 acres. We just started putting mulch here, and this is compost. Sometimes you don't need a full truckload at a time, you just need a little wagon load here. So it's really nice to be able to go get what I need when I need it and not have to empty an entire truckload. So we just backed up the truck right here from the road and dumped it all out, and now I have a little stash of mulch and compost whenever I need it. So I'm gonna go finish covering that area that I just planted. All right, not bad. All mulched in and looking like it can survive now. Right, you guys, I'm really getting close to finishing planting all the things that are in that pile over there by the garden shed. These are some beautiful yellow irises that I actually pulled out of the river as we were kayaking the other day. They were just growing right in the water, and so I know these need water, and I thought what better place to put them than right next to the water spigot where this gets flooded every once in a while, and they'll probably be pretty happy here. So this is another one of those experiments. I cut them off because they had green and even one blossom, but we don't need that when we're growing roots. We need to get just a little bit of green to get energy from the sun, and then you want to give all the rest to the roots there. So I'm going to dig these pretty shallow, probably make the level of dirt right about there and get these all in. I'll show you what they look like when they're planted. So as you can see, these are pretty crowded in this little spot. The rhizomes are what these roots are called, and I like to just kind of stack them right next to each other, or even layer them on top of each other a little bit sometimes, because that will make the planting area really thick. And then if you want to, later you can come back and thin them out, because by then I might have more space to put them in. But that's all they look like. No big deal. And I guess someday I'll show you if they grow and turn into irises. When my grandma was here this spring, super early spring, like had just stopped snowing basically, she asked my mom, well, I wonder why Anna hasn't done anything with this little area right here. Because over there was looking gorgeous, and this is just a pile of weeds. Well, the answer is I just haven't. Because it's a little overwhelming. When we moved stuff from the front, when we were clearing out around the really old stone wall in the front, we put a bunch of the stuff that we dug up that we might want to keep right here. We just piled it all up. And then weeds started growing through, and we did have a couple of irises bloom, and it looks like we may get some daylilies if I let them stay here. We have a lot of these super obnoxious to me fake strawberries. They're not worth anything. They're not poisonous as far as I know, but anyway, this is just junk right here. And this is where I'm hoping to put blueberries. I do have one blueberry that my mom bought me, and it's in that same pile next to my garden shed. So I'm going to do as little as I can right here, digging a spot out for that blueberry right now. All right, Grandma, I hope you're happy. The project next to the garage has finally begun, and now I can put this blueberry in. And, you know, I probably won't be satisfied until the rest of this is done, but it's definitely not a project for today. Right, there she is, all snug in her new home. This is a blueberry peach sorbet. I think my mom got this perfect for a patio container, so I could have totally left it in a container, but I like the idea of it being right here and coming back. It's really small. It's 1.5 to 2 feet mounded with a medium-sized blueberry called peach sorbet. I like it. And they already have some blueberries on there. Hopefully, I don't know, maybe we'll get to taste one this year. But it's really all about next year after it gets to be established in its new home. All right, y'all, look at this mess. All these empty containers. Only one more thing to plant, and it is this dwarf Korean lilac that I bought last year, super on sale in the fall. It was not $30, it was a real bargain, but I thought I had killed it over the winter because I never planted it, and then it came back just a little bit. Most of these are weeds down here, but this is lilac, and so I need to find a place for this. It says it's dwarf, but it also says 5 to 8 feet tall, 6 to 10 feet wide, so I don't know what's dwarf about it. Compact mounded shrub, stunning lilac flowers, panicles. I love panicles. April through May. It did give me a couple little flowers this year, not very many because I abused it, but I think I have a place that I'd like to plant this. Now, I already have a few lilacs, or lilacs, as my neighbor calls them. I have one over there, and I have one on the corner of the house, and then one under that middle window right there. And so I kind of want to be able to look around the yard and see them when they're all blooming. I think that would be really cool. We do that with the red buds now, and it's just the coolest effect. So I think I'm going to put one over there. And there it is. I was able to separate a lot of the dead parts from the definitely alive part on this lilac. I put it about 4 feet away from a red bud right here. And then when it's time to bloom, there's actually not very much shade in this area because things haven't leaved out yet. There's a huge walnut tree right there, but that one gets its leaves pretty late. And so I think this will have some nice sun when it needs to, and then for the rest of the year it'll have afternoon shade, which will be nice. But here it is, my last plant to plant on the side of the garden shed. Well, it took me a lot longer than I expected it would. I thought that was gonna be about a day's project, and if you've noticed my shoes, my hair, my clothes changing from time to time, that's because that project took me about 3 or 4 days of all of my garden time to finish. So the reason is because I wasn't really ready. It wasn't all going in the same place. Had a lot of weeding or ground prep to do before I could plant those things, and that's why they were stuck there in the first place. It's exciting to have new plants and be making plans. There's a lot of prep work that goes into making a good home for those plants, and sometimes that prep work gets a little backed up. So thanks for joining me. I hope we get to do this again soon. I'm probably not gonna make y'all watch me clean up this area right here. You can let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see. But I do save most of these plastic things just for possible future use if I'm dividing plants or something. But for right now, I'm gonna go clean up and take my little boy to the store so he can spend some of his pocket money. See you guys next time.